welcome to another episode of Hope in the Time of Corona. If we haven't met yet, my name's Sophie and I'm on the staff team at Hope Church. And today I want to spend a bit of time thinking about our phones. And before I go any further, I want to acknowledge that these are good, that there is so much that is good about our phones. First and foremost, that they keep us connected, which especially at a time like this is so important. So I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful. I haven't seen my mum since Christmas. I'm so grateful that I get to see her through FaceTime and that kind of thing. But I think they can also sometimes be unhelpful. For me in particular, that looks like procrastination. When I have something to do, all of a sudden, all I want to do is scroll through Instagram or other things that I don't need to be doing, and actually I just need to be doing the task at hand. Often that is something like writing an essay for me. The second, which is a slightly bigger one, or one for me to be even more wary of, is comparison, which I find particularly through stuff like Instagram, looking at what other people are doing or what they're presenting that they are doing on Instagram and thinking, that looks super fun. I'm not seeing that many friends, I'm not doing this or that, and they are. But actually, we present what we want people to see on Instagram, and I am definitely guilty of this. So on Saturday, I went for a barbecue at Friends and I posted something about it on my feed. But I don't post the 99.9% of the time that I'm not doing anything like that. That is one of 2 barbecues that I've had, socially distanced of course, over lockdown. So there you go, an insight into my feed. There is so much that is pretty mundane and I don't post that. So for me, procrastination, comparison are the 2 ways that I can find this device to be quite unhelpful. And because of that, I feel like it is helpful for me to put some boundaries around it. And it might be that that is not helpful for you at this time, especially if you are in lockdown on your own. Maybe you really need this, but actually maybe the comparison thing is really real for you, in which case it might be helpful as well to think about just what to put in place to help this be a good thing rather than something that is sometimes unhelpful. So I want to encourage us to think intentionally about the way that we use it, our relationship to it. And I've just got a few things that I found helpful, and maybe you will too, and just some things to consider. The first is, I don't know about Android, but on an iPhone in your settings, you can look at your usage. You can look at how long you spend each day on your phone, how long you spend each week on your phone, what apps you spend the most time on, and even the first app that you open the most when you open your phone, which for me is Instagram by a long way, is the first thing I go on when I go on this thing. And considering for me that's not great for comparison, that's probably something I should be aware of and just remind myself when I open my phone, do I need to immediately scroll there? Why am I doing that? What's the purpose of that? Is it for connection, or is it not going to make me feel that good all the time? So you might want to look at your usage and have a think about that. And then I just want to share some things that I found helpful, and then some things that I'm not doing but I've heard other people doing and I might do in the future. You can maybe challenge me on that. They feel like a lot, but I think they're really good. So things that I've done. One is buy an alarm clock and not keep this in my bedroom. And I know a number of people that have done this. I felt inspired by other people doing it, so I bought an alarm clock. I think you can just about see it in this video, and I don't keep this in the bedroom anymore. I keep this on the kitchen counter because it was the last thing that I did going to bed was be on my phone, and it was the first thing I woke up to. I found that I'd wake up, get it immediately, go to Instagram. That wasn't helpful for me. And before bed, often it would be that or looking at the news that made me feel quite anxious. So I just felt, this isn't good for me, I'm removing it. And now I try to make the first thing that I do is feed the cats, obviously, make a cup of tea, but then I spend some time with God. And I don't do this every day. Sometimes I do go straight to my phone, but I try to make my cup of tea, sit on the sofa, have that time, and then I pick up my phone and do what I like, but making sure that's not the first thing that I go to, that's not the thing that I prioritize. So that's helped me. Another thing is apps limit. Again, sorry Android users, I'm not familiar, but on an iPhone you can limit the amount of time you spend on different apps. So I have a limit on Instagram, and it tells me, I get a notification that pops up saying you've reached your limit, and you can choose to ignore that, or you could choose to say, okay, I've reached my limit, I don't need to be on this anymore. And I've just found that helpful to just keep track of the amount of time I'm spending. And sometimes it is so early when I get that notification, and I cannot believe that I spent so long by 12 o'clock or something. So it is helpful to just keep an eye on. And another thing is removing notifications. So the only notifications I have now is BBC News, so that if something big happens in the world, I don't miss it. But I don't have notifications for text, WhatsApp, social media, Slack, which is what we use as a staff team, so maybe they are less thrilled about it because I'm probably a bit slower to pick up on things. But I found that really helpful to try and be proactive rather than reactive. So before, I would see stuff pop up and I would immediately swipe and open it, whereas now it feels more that it's on my terms when I choose to look at stuff and give time to this device. So there are some small steps that I've taken to try and help me in how I use this in a way that is positive for me. And I just want to share two things that I have heard that I'm not doing, but I think are really good. So the first is having a digital detox. One of my friends on Saturdays turns her phone off. She doesn't use it at all. And I think it can be really good to just have that extended bit of time away from it. Now, again, if you are doing lockdown on your own, or if you're finding this really helpful during this time, ignore that. But actually, if you think that's something that could be quite good for you to just try and be present where you are, then I would encourage you to think about it. I'm not there yet, I have to be honest, but maybe you're a bit further down the line with this stuff than me. And the second is you might want to have some kind of annual rhythms in place. So maybe it's that you want to have an hour a day where you intentionally don't look at your phone. Maybe it's that you want to have a day a week, that digital detox each week away from it. Maybe you want to do something monthly. Maybe even you want to do a week away from it yearly. Take some annual leave, take some time off for a week and shut it down. If you're going somewhere, take an actual camera rather than taking pictures on this, whatever it is, to just have a bit of space from it and to just be really present where you are. So they are some things to think about. I will leave you to think about whether you feel you've got a really healthy relationship to this, in which case none of this applies. But if there is some stuff that might help you essentially feel better about your relationship with this, then I would encourage you to consider that, to consider maybe some of the things I've suggested and what might work for you. So that is everything from me today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.